right, welcome to 94.9 32 FM, and this is Scoreboard Reloaded. I am Peter. On the show this afternoon, we'll take a look at all the headlines from the world of sport over the weekend, from the CAF Champions League to the Under-20 World Cup to the Under-17 World Cup. A little bit of the NPFL if we have time, then we get away and catch up with the headlines away from home. Football and, of course, Formula One also make the headlines. I am Peter Amo. I've got SAMIES and 𝐃𝐈𝐒 with me. We'll take a look at this and many more from the world of sports. So sit back for the next 25 minutes and let's head to your day. Let's get down to business. And, of course, we'll start with a game that SAMIES went to cover at the MKO Abiola Stadium in 𝐵𝐵𝐿𝐿, where Remo Stars could not win at home. They lost to Sundowns by 5-1. And then Riverside also failed to win their game away from home. They lost by a goal to nil. So maybe kind of you want to say Rivers, the only team that got hope for Remo Stars, is going to be a tough one. Maybe some lessons to learn. SAMIES, good afternoon. It's a pleasure having you. Share with us what was it like. This one is a tough one. I know that the game was on satellite TV. For those of us who could not find our way to 𝐵𝐿𝐿, we were able to watch, but you were there to watch. And you saw how Remo Stars could not shine against the team Sundowns. So, SAMIES, I don't know. Maybe there's any kind of question I want to ask. There's no, I don't even know if to ask you if there's any hope for Remo Stars qualifying. But there must be some lessons to pick after the game yesterday. Second leg coming up this week. So, what are the things that we didn't? That you saw that we were not privileged to after during the course of the game yesterday?
Good afternoon, Peter. Good afternoon, 𝐷𝐿, and also to everyone who has joined us on today's edition of the program. Starting straight from that not so great performance from the Sky Blue Boys there at the MKO Abiola Stadium in 𝐵𝐿𝐿 yesterday. 5-1. The game ended 2-0 in the first half. Well, when Mamelodi Sundowns scored 2 in the second half, Remo Stars returned 1, but that was not enough as Mamelodi Sundowns scored the 5th in that encounter. But one thing in which I came to understand yesterday was just that there's a gulf in class between both sides, where we talk about their growth in football, and also maybe each country's growth also in football, our involvement in football. For Nigeria, I think we are living on past glory now, and that is haunting us. So we've dug our own grave, and that is what we are living in presently, where we talk about Nigerian football, and not only football, also in sports generally, because there was still an unfortunate incident that happened there in Tunisia, where the ITTF African Championships also went down over the course of that last week. So we talk about what happened yesterday. For Mamelodi Sundowns, this was a side that we know they've been to Nigeria years ago. Julius Berger defeated them. But yesterday for Remo Stars, it was just not that performance. And after the final whistle, I saw Daniel Ogumonde. They rallied the team around on the pitch and have that conversation with them while the rest of us also settled for the post-match interview with Coach Emilga Cardoso of Mamelodi Sundowns and Thiago Konde, still of Remo Stars. The performance yesterday, not the best. And a lot of people said yesterday that for Remo Stars, they are playing against the South African national team. And I dare say that this is not the South African national team. If we are saying that it is what it is. Yes, you can say maybe the art of the South African national team. They are playing there, especially their captain, Ronan Williams, who was paying. They considered a goal yesterday. Despite that, he made a few good saves yesterday. Also, Tebo Mokoena, Motiba, all of these guys played yesterday. But for Remo Stars, I think it was down to the game management by Daniel Ogumonde. This is a side, they've won the South African Championships for more than 4 years in a row now. And what do you do? 8 years. So what do you do to contain these guys at home? At home, you don't go all out. You're not the big boys yet. They are the big boys.
Hold on. Hold your thoughts, 𝐷𝐿. Let's spend some time on this before we talk about some. Yes, I watched yesterday, but what I saw didn't glide in my heart at all. And I don't remember. I'll come to you, SAMIES. The last time a Nigerian club side playing at home lost in this kind of fashion, in this margin. And it speaks one thing to me, because there might be so many perspective or thoughts about what happened, what played out. But this is not what you expect from a Nigerian champion. I know the golf in class is much between Sundowns and Wemo Stars, but not in this fashion. I remember we were here on Saturday. I was trying to get your thoughts about how many do we need to score? Do we need to, you know, ensure that they don't score here? But this is not one. This is not two. It's not three. This is five. This is a massive statement.
Good afternoon, Peter, SAMIES, and to everyone who has joined us on the show this afternoon. Well, it's sad situation happened there in that place yesterday, because when you look at it, I would call that a bad advertisement for the league, because if your champion is playing in that way, if Mamelodi Sundowns is passing through the defense line of the champion of the Nigerian league in that fashion, in that way, it's just not good enough for the league. And I think that has showed, we saw something similar to this during the CHAN competition, but we didn't pay much attention to it because we felt like the coach didn't go with the best legs and all of that. But there is a lot of margin from what we play here in the Nigerian league and what they play away from home. Mamelodi Sundowns is not a small team in Africa, but they don't come to your home as a champion of the Nigerian league. You didn't finish second, you didn't finish third, you didn't win the FA Cup to qualify for this event. You won the league. If you win the league and you are playing that way, you are conceding 4 goals before you scored back against Mamelodi Sundowns is very, very, very poor. I was expecting a better style of play from Daniel Rugmo already, because I expected him to know better. This team is not a small team. They went on to the FIFA Club World Cup and we saw what they could do. They went outside, competed against teams like Borussia Dortmund and played very well against them. So you should defend better. You don't come all out to play in that way. You don't play because this is a team that you yourself know very well that when you are playing in the Nigerian Premier League, I don't know if it's professional, but you're playing in the Nigerian Premier League and you go away from home to play. There's a way you are conservative. There's a way you play. That is what I was expecting. I was expecting you to wait, sit at the back and see if you can hit them on counter. You don't have what they have. Their players are playing for the national team of their country. Your players are still here. And I think it is just, they have showed us very well now that our league is still far, far, far behind what other leagues are. We are not top 5 leagues in Africa currently.
SAMIES, I think you have a few of the press conference yesterday. I don't really know how to say this. Maybe I'll just hold my thoughts and let's take a listen to who do you have there? The coach of Mamelodi Sundowns, or
we have both Mamelodi Sundowns and Thiago
Conde. What's his name now? The one who
Thiago Conde.
Thiago, yeah, they will help us with this.
Of strategy for this game, first half and second half, we cannot say the players didn't do what they're supposed to do. No, we cannot say. The players followed what was the plan. But we know on this kind of games, small mistakes is dangerous. You cannot do mistakes, individual mistakes, because there's a collective actions which they follow, they try to do, but the individual mistakes cannot happen. And when we see individual mistakes, it's difficult after to come back to the game. First half, we went to the half time with 2-0. When we come back, we have two or three opportunities to score. And now if we really score like we scored later, we were on the game. So we didn't score, now it will be more difficult. It's natural on this kind of games, small mistakes. Even Mamelodi, they did a small mistake and we score a goal. and one ball on the post on the bar. So they know it's like that, and we know always is like that.
All right. So I think we should not put a closure. We'll continue sometime this week because of our time. We need to just move fast. 15 minutes is all we've got left on the show, and we still have a few things to discuss. And like I said at the start of the show, is about how event went down this weekend in the world of sport. And now that is one of those events that went down. But like I said the other time, it is not a closure. We'll continue to look at that because the return leg comes up this week. And someone said, what's the point going to South Africa to play? But you have to go honor the game. If not, you know how FIFA CAF can come hard on you. So let's talk about those who can come hard on SAMIES this afternoon. And let's talk about what Morocco did. I will not shy away from that and say because Nigeria did not win, but there must be lessons for us too. Someone spoke to me on Sunday. We had a chat, and it was like kind of a follow-up to the things we were talking here on Friday when I was asking you guys that the countries that you think will win the World Cup, the continent of Africa and all that. But what Morocco did on the early hours of today is a boast. And I also had this. I don't know how true this is. The person shared with me that the current template that the Americans are running was actually, you know, use the word given or introduced to 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿 a couple of years ago, and 𝐷𝐷𝐷𝐿 said this cannot work. But 15 years down the line, see what Morocco is doing. The second team to go ahead and win the Under-20 World Cup, 2-0 against 6-time world champion Argentina. And not just that, like I said on Friday, 2-1-3 might be part of the World Cup in the next few months from these boys who went to play. SAMIES, what exactly is wrong with us? No, let me start with Dolapo. What is wrong with us? I heard things like South Africa came here to take a look at our league, how it's been run, and they took it back and look at what it has become. Why people talk things like, we're joking now, those are the lighter notes. When you have this thing that Zlatan would have played for Arsenal, Messi would have played for Arsenal, Ronaldo sharing with Arsenal, all those things you had this time. So on a lighter note, Dolapo, why are we like this? Why are we here? This, what is happening to our football, it is not good. Club football, we just talk about it. Nothing to write home about. Now look at what Morocco is doing. Telling everyone who cares to listen. First, it was the Senior World Cup. You remember what they did? They finished fourth. The Olympic Games football event, they went and they almost won. They won bronze. They won bronze, beating Egypt in the third and fourth place game. And now they've said, you know what, we might have lost in those two, but the Under-20 will win. And that they did in the earlier this morning. Beat Argentina by 2-0.
I think they've invested so much into sports. They've invested a lot into football, and now they are reaping what they see. And for us in Nigeria, what we've slept off a long time ago. We believed we are the best, and no one in Africa can get close to us. And that was what other countries were looking at. Why other countries were looking to be like Nigeria. Nigeria already felt like we've arrived. Because in the last 10, 20 years, most of these countries were looking to be like, we want to get close to what Nigeria is doing. Nigeria is the template everybody's looking at and looking at, okay, if we can get to the level where Nigeria is, we would develop and our sports too would be very good. So that is what used to be back in the days. But now all of these countries have moved forward, looking at Nigeria first. And Nigeria at their own point, we are just saying we have arrived and we are not ready to improve anything. When you look at it very well, they've started this thing for years. They kept on improving, and now they have taken themselves to the bigger stage, got to the semi-final of the World Cup, got to the final of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup, and win it. Given that Argentina lost their first game of that competition, and that's the first ever time Argentina would lose the final of the FIFA Under-20 World Cup. Going away from home, they've hosted almost every competition in Africa. They have the facilities, they have everything, they have the stadiums.
At the moment, they are only hosting
the Under-17 Women's World Cup. So they are doing everything right when it comes to football. They have the facilities, they see themselves as they are seeing themselves as a footballing country, and they are investing money into it because they believe football can give them back the money. They believe that if they invest in sports, they can get the money back. But here, we don't believe that sports can give us money. I think that is one of the reasons why we are not improving. We feel like there is nothing apart from other stuff. Football is not one of those things that can improve the economy of the country. Because if we had seen football as something that can improve the economy of the country, we would have invested in it. I think it was the NFF president some years ago said they have no investment for the cadets, for the under 20s, under 17s. The NFF president, the head of football of the country, coming out to say such, while other countries were investing in their sport. So the results has been there since, we just didn't see it. And now for Morocco, they are having their good results.
SAMIES, from being 76 in the world to the top of the world, when Faouz Lekia became the president of Morocco FA in 2014, Morocco was ranked 76 in the FIFA ranking. Today, they stand among the elites, a transformation powered by his leadership and unwavering support of His Majesty. That's what they have in Morocco. They don't use presidents, so it's like what we have in the United Kingdom. They've developed the third division in youth, the third division in sport. They defined football in Morocco. And we're talking about from World Cup semi-finalists to now dominating club football on the continent. They are under 20 world champion, beating Chile. Morocco, they'll keep shining. They'll keep inspiring. They host the Nations Cup in a few weeks from now, SAMIES. I will not be shocked if they go ahead to win.
Well, the chances definitely are high. And just like we said this morning, right after I finished the scoreboard, the chances for them lifting the AFCON is high because they are the host nation, and you follow the precedent of what happened at the last edition of the African Cup of Nations. Ivory Coast, they hosted and they won. And to talk about Morocco, they didn't do so well at the African Cup of Nations, but after, well, you tell that they've actually done so well, considering the form they are even in right now. 16 games without a defeat, and they've all been straight victories. Well, it's definitely a big one, a big ask for anyone who is going to challenge. That's Morocco at this. This African Cup of Nations set to go down there in that's Morocco in the coming years. But quickly before we just leave Morocco and all that, for Nigeria, I think we've actually lost it all years ago. I remember I had the conversation with the media lead of communications of the ITTF Africa here in Nigeria, Latifat Oyomaswen. And well, she said, not only do we have huge gaps in self-acclaimed the most followed sport, football in Nigeria, and our sports system is so archaic that we need a total revamp, so fresher ideas that can get things working. And one thing also actually comes to mind, the exchange rates in this country affects quite a lot of things. It affects quite a lot of things. And also, we massage the egos of those who are supposed to make things better. We are not speaking truth to power in the Nigerian sport.
This, like I did say about Remo Stars, is not the closure. This also is not the closure. There's a way we're going to bring this back later this week and discuss. But before talking about you putting this on the table, I don't want to destroy. I want us to have a good conversation on the show this afternoon. But let me say this. A couple of years ago, when Goodluck Jonathan, then president, said, let's shut football down for 2 years and let's come back and rebuild after we had a dismal performance in one of the main tournaments. The present guys in government, and including yours, me, a few of us, we said, no. Okay, you can't shut football for 2 years, though. You will have to do something else. But we did something. We won the Nations Cup, remember, in 2013, and we thought football was back. How many years ago now? And I say to people in government now, you're not helping sports. If you think sport is a recreation, you're missing it. You go to Morocco and go to Senegal and see what they have. Let's move on. Because of our time, we need to make this very fast now. SAMIES, what do you make of the first goal? Were you were in Abeokuta, so don't let me come to you. Because your mind was in Liverpool, Manchester United. You also have your body in that game.
For a second, I didn't even think about Manchester United.
Okay, so this question is not for you because you were not even watching. Your mind was in Remo. You wanted Remo to win. So sad they did not get to win. You saw the game yesterday, real time. Yeah. What do you make of the first goal scored by United? Liverpool that say, why don't you kick the ball out? That head injury for McAllister. You kick the ball out. Do you put the blame on United not kicking the ball out on Michael Oliver, who said,
I'll put the blame on Michael Oliver. I'm not going to put the blame on Manchester United players because why would you kick the ball out? You were playing on your countering attack. I can remember some years back when Manchester United were playing against Arsenal. Emil Smith-Rowe scored against David De Gea, who was on the floor. Arsenal didn't stop the game that day. De Gea was on the floor. He was the goalkeeper. The referee was supposed to stop the game, and the goal count. So I think it was Oliver that should have stopped the game, and he was saying after the match, and he said after the press conference, the release, the EPL drop was that he didn't know it was an head injury. But I think it was not the player's fault. It was just Michael Oliver that didn't do his job, and that was what hurt Liverpool. It is not the player's fault.
Let's listen to 𝐿, the head coach of Manchester United. He is reacting to say, that game should have been stopped. Take a listen to 𝐿, the head coach of Liverpool.
I've said it up here I think many times, and I'm hoping that I'm not just saying it to you, but everybody understands this a bit better. Is we are not a team, which I see a lot in football, that go to the floor pretending if it's a head injury, so they can counter-attack. That's not who we are. We never go to the floor. We always are fair team.
Okay, apologies for that sound quality, but like SAMIES did confess, his mind was on the game between Rebel Stars and Sundowns, so he wasn't watching real time. I did, and in the first view, I never felt there was a hand injury. I felt it was Virgil van Dijk who hit the Argentine.
Yeah, it was.
And in fact, Buemo was also down, but he stood up, and then the ball was not in the second phase. It was still in the same phase, and so you can make of anything. But quickly about the match. Okay, SAMIES, you have something?
I've said it up here I think many times, and I'm hoping that I'm not just saying it to you, but everybody understands this a bit better. Is we are not a team, which I see a lot in football, that go to the floor pretending if it's a head injury, so they kill the counter-attack. That's not who we are. We never go to the floor. We always are a fair team. So if a player of us is then on the floor, you would hope that everybody understands, it's Liverpool, they don't do these kind of things, so let's blow a whistle. But again, that's not an excuse for us conceding the goal, and that's not an excuse for us losing this game of football.
All right, so thank you so much. SAMIES just have to find a way to help us get that out. So there you have it. Still more in terms of conversation around the game, but it was good to see United get their second win on the bounce. Liverpool, they've lost 4 games. We're going to the FA Champions League coming up Tuesday, Wednesday. For United, the next time we against Brighton, we'll wait to see how they go. Time is just running. Can somebody just help me say this time? Go back, because I've got many things to discuss on the show this afternoon. So, SAMIES, before we go, let me come to you about Formula 1. I asked Olakpo here last week about Max Verstappen. That same question to you now, SAMIES. It's getting closer. With those decisive races to go, we go to Mexico in the coming days.
What a drive that was from Max Verstappen yesterday in the US Grand Prix, and to tell that this man has cut it all down to 40 points. That's a miracle, I would say, for real. You look at how McLaren, they started the season with them dominating in over 7 races. To even say at this time the Constructors' Championship is already concluded. We know the winner already. They've been confirmed, the McLaren, and then the drivers. But in all of these things, it's all McLaren to be blamed. Well, who are you prioritizing in your team? Which driver are you prioritizing? Is it Lando Norris? Is it Oscar Piastri? And this is the reason why it is all down to this. And to even say one of the McLaren drivers is ahead with only just 14 points. Or is it 14 or 16 points?
16 points.
16 points. So you see how difficult things are for the 3 drivers involved.
It's hard to prioritize anybody now. Very hard to prioritize anybody now.
Okay.
And like I said, you remember I said like 3-4 races ago that what Max Verstappen needs is 4 do not finish.
Hard. 40
4
points.
do not finish.
That won't happen. But 40 points is still more.
But if he keeps winning, if he wins another, that's all.
That is if Lando and
I've got 10
Oscar
seconds.
is not
I
behind
have to
him.
sign on. 10 seconds. Thank you, SAMIES. Thank you, Olakpo. Very soon we should have an official confirmation of Sean Dyche being the new head coach of Nottingham Forest. Postecoglou sacked after the defeat to Chelsea after 17 minutes of the game was still to go. I'm Peter Omo. My time is up. I'll see you guys on Tuesday morning by 7:40 for Scoreboard in 15.